Hello and welcome. My name is Andrew Grant. In this video we'll be looking at unit testing, a C++ library that uses modules using the Microsoft CppUnitTesting framework. This is the code that we'll be testing. It's a very basic string object, quite literally for no other reason than because we can. And this is the public facing aspect to the string module. Note that it does contain a macro which is exportable, though I'll caution that it's about the only macro that you can export. So we'll get on with the unit tests. After compiling the library module in both debug and release mode, we need to add a new test project, so click on the solution and add a new project. And what we're going to select is the Microsoft CppUnitTest framework, and follow the normal procedure for creating a project. Give the project an appropriate name, and please do make sure that the location is set to the library location. And we end up with a solution structure like that you see on screen just now, but without the strings .ixx. Though we should have a library named tests.cpp file. Now we just have to set the test project to the latest standard. If you don't, all sorts of weird things happen. Not least is that frequently there's just a plain old refusal to even approach the idea of compiling. And then make sure you add a reference from the test project to the project being tested. Only one test project at a time. We're not doing integration testing here, just a plain old unit test. A note of caution here, leave the pre-compiled header files well alone. Quite literally, don't touch them. There's literally no need, and strange things happen when you do. And this is beginning to sound like an episode of The Twilight Zone. Then create a module. In this case I've given it the identifier test strings. And then this is the important bit. Import the public module from the project being tested first. But don't export it, just import it. And then you can import any header files you want. And I decided to hide the test string and a simple class away in their own not exported namespace, and use an exported public namespace to access them, and mainly so I can control what's being tested. And then we have a module for the variables that are being used to test the library, a module with a private namespace for the variables and a public namespace that is exported to access those variables. Now to the test file. Leave it exactly as you find it. The only thing you need to do is import the test and result modules that you created a moment ago. Pop them underneath the include CppUnit test header statement and finish them with semicolons. Now you can create the test. The test class doesn't need a private access area, but personally I find it best to have one. And then if you ever need to pop something in there, it's available without any hassles. And the hardest part of any test is naming the sodding things. Try to be as descriptive as possible, though do bear in mind that what's obvious to you may be quite obscure to someone else. And here I've created an example of a test method. As you can see, it's really quite plain and does nothing except exert the test. Makes it so much easier to debug tests and to actually conduct the tests if you do all the processing elsewhere, if that's applicable. Otherwise do it within the test method. And then fire up the test explorer, preferably after you've created your first test, just to make sure everything's good. Write the rest of your tests and let it loose on your test code. And as usual, when you reference the library in a project, make sure to only include the library and not the test suite. Right, that's testing module libraries sorted on a very basic level. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.